On this episode of Law Weekly, a chat with a retired justice of the Federal High Court, Justice Taiwo. We look at the performance of the judiciary in year 2024 and what the sector can do better in the new year. Also showing on the program, some senior lawyers share with Law Weekly some areas the judicial sector needs urgent reforms, plus our recap of some of the top legal stories in the news. Hello and welcome to the program. I am Shola Shoyeli. With the hue and cry over the poor public perception of the judiciary, I asked my guest, the retired Justice of the Federal High Court, Justice Taiwo, what major reforms the legal sector should prioritize. He believes that the judiciary did well in 2024.
Well, I want to believe that the judiciary has performed very well. And despite all the hues and cries, they've done well, really. Most people don't see beyond political cases. When they see beyond political cases, they know that judges are doing a lot of things. In the realm of human rights, they are trying, but these cases are not being reported. Oh, it's not one big man attending court, being taken to court for corruption. These are all the things people listen to. They don't listen to the other side. They don't hear the other side, where the judiciary has been making progress. So I believe that they have done creditably well, despite criticisms, which I believe is personal. It's subjective. It's not across board. You can't just blame everybody for the singular act of one or two that you know that most people don't know. That's just it.
I hear what you say about it's actually the corruption cases that gets reported and most people use to tag. But like you rightly alluded to, public perception of the judiciary, the criticisms that follow it, there's a lot of distrust of the judiciary, a lot of... What's, even though you say it's very few cases, but how do you think that the judiciary can, I don't know, maybe do better to engender public trust and confidence?
Well, you see, the issue of public trust is something that a lot of connotations come into it. There's politics, there's tribalism, there are so many other human factors that go into, as you are saying, as some people are criticizing the judiciaries, some other people are hailing the judiciary. It depends on what spectrum you belong to.
Sure.
But I want to say that if the judiciary can be more open in the way judgments are delivered. And then, of course, I want to believe that some people ought to be able to explain to the public why some judgments are delivered that way. Because judges cannot explain. This is why I deliver my judgment. No judge can do that.
Because judges are to be seen.
Yes, and not to be heard. But some people that ought to do that, unfortunately, and most unfortunately, they are not doing their job.
Who are the people that should
These
do
are
that?
the attorneys general of the state and of the federation. They ought to be able to explain to the public that this is the law. This is why the judge arrived at this decision. They can't throw everything out like that and pretend as if nothing is happening. Somebody must speak for the judges. They must speak for the judges. It's very annoying that you now envelope everybody.
Because there really are a lot of good judges.
Yes, a lot. They are doing good jobs.
There are also issues surrounding the appointment of judges and promotion of judicial officers.
Yes.
Do you still think that the current process is sufficiently merit-based?
You see, the point is this. I do not subscribe to the issue of promotion, especially when it gets to the hierarchy. If you take a cue from the United States of America, You don't have to be the most senior
Before
to
you're
be
promoted.
appointed as the Chief Justice of the United States of America. But it's the norm here. So we have to deal with it. But then, how we deal with it is that we must make sure that the right people are put there. You don't just put people because it's a senior. He's senior and he's been coming with a lot of baggages, negative, and then you still put him there to head an arm of government, which is the judicial arm of government. And aside that, I have this idea that on the issue of appointment of judges, a lot needs to be done. A lot needs to be done. And I hope the Chief Justice of Nigeria, because I know she's well-meaning, will get some people around and see how this issue can be addressed adequately. The issue of appointment and promotion of judges from one cadre to the other.
Because
we have a serious problem, yes.
Because what you said about lobbying, I know it's not peculiar to the judiciary.
No, it's
almost,
not.
Almost in any
It's
area,
not.
you have to lobby.
It's
But we
not.
shouldn't allow it in our
No.
judiciary.
You see, when it comes to the issue of judiciary, it's a different matter entirely. Somebody that does not know the law, strictly saying that, with due respect, should not be considered, no matter how many lobbies that person can muster. You see, we know ourselves. The lawyers know. The lawyers know, but some lawyers they can't speak up.
Why?
And when they speak up, because they've just discovered that, well, the man is, as the person that is lobbying, as a lobbyist that is in the high place.
And they don't want to be witch
And they
hunted.
don't want to be witch hunted. Somebody that is just ordinary lawyer that is not yet SCN, wants to be SCN. He will not want to put his head on the block and start saying, oh yes, this one is this one is that. But we know ourselves. Let's face it, lawyers know. Lawyers know. Senior lawyers know. Senior lawyers who have been senior advocates for decades, they know. They should be able to speak out and say, no, nobody can do anything to you if you speak out. And
especially if it's a collective.
Yes,
so
if it's if it's a collective
then
thing,
you can't target any of them.
Yes, and if you come out and say it, and the person goes in one way or the other due to backings from lobbies, and it messes up, you can now stomp your chest and say, did I not tell you? Did I not tell you? But I don't know why people are keeping quiet. It's a very serious thing. We have to look into it.
Can the NBA help?
Well, the NBA can help. But the point is that the issue of the NBA, it depends on who is there and how close the person is to the powers that be, whether in the judiciary or in the executive. It depends. Yes, the NBA can help. But then how many times has the NBA stood up to say, no, we are not going to take it? Look at the time, the period the judges were attacked in their homes. What did the NBA do? Some lawyers were even clapping, when in fact they don't even have the facts of what transpired, what led to it. They don't even have it. But they are very happy. Oh yes, oh yes. I was ashamed at that time because that was the period I was there. And then people started looking at me as if I'm a billionaire. Yes, it was an exposure of the judges that ought not to have been allowed in the first place. Let's be civil. Lawyers should be civil. Let's be civil. Let's bring back this profession to what it used to be. Let's bring it back to what it used to be.
The issue of conflicting and inconsistent judgments.
Yes.
We saw a few instances of that.
Yes.
Why do you think that still persists? Because that's one of the reasons why people say, oh, the judiciary is corrupt.
Yes.
There's no certainty in our laws.
You
Court
see,
A will say one thing, Court B will say another. courts of the same jurisdiction,
Yes, you
coordinate
see,
jurisdiction.
I have looked at that issue. The problem is that of synergy, communication intra the various judges. If I have a judgment that is recondite in law, circulate it to all the other judges. Let them read. You know, some people can distinguish and depart. But where the law is clear, there's nothing you can do about it. So where you now do something against that aspect is when people will now say, oh, the judiciary is this or that. I believe that there should be a situation whereby judgments are circulated all over.
So that everybody is on the same page.
Yes, it's on the same page. Oh, my colleague had done this in Kano. Yes, let me see. Oh, can I do this in Anambra? Can I do this? You know, these are issues that ought to be looked into.
I hear what you say about circulating it for the judges to know. But
yes.
From your experience, and now I want to talk about the lawyers, because before
Yes.
a judge can give a judgment, a lawyer must have filed and made submissions before
Exactly.
that judge. So
Yes.
do you agree with those who say that lawyers, particularly senior ones, are even the ones responsible for much of the corruption that we see in the administration of justice? The law is already clear. A judge in Kano has given a judgment on this, and then you go and take the same case and file in Anambra or some other state.
You see, the LPDC, I'm so sorry, are not, that committee is not working the way it should work when it comes to things like that. We have seen cases of whereby when it has to do with very senior lawyers and petitions are written, the thing will not see the light of day. The NBA must rise up to this occasion to make sure that lawyers, no matter who, the heavens will not fall. Let us open the backside of the ostrich or the turkey and let people see what A or B are doing. If it's a disservice to the legal profession, the NBA must say something about it.
The LPDC is a committee of the NBA.
Yes, that's the Legal Practitioners Disciplinary Committee. Yes.
So that's an admission that the NBA is not doing enough.
It's not doing enough.
It's through the committee, the
It's
LPDC.
not doing enough. Don't let's deceive ourselves, especially when it comes to very senior lawyers. They won't do anything. It's a matter of oh no, we cannot offend so and so. Why won't you offend so and so? If the person is going to rubbish your profession, you must be able to tell the person what you are doing is wrong. Let's then look at the legal practitioners have rules. If you follow the rules of the legal, you won't see all these cases being filed, frivolous cases being filed by lawyers all over the place. But nobody is doing anything about it. And that is the problem.
In terms of reforms going forward for the legal profession, and this is like a kind of agenda setting for 2025, you've clearly said that the NBA needs to do more in terms of discipline of judges, of lawyers, and all of that. But for the CJN, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, in terms of reforms, what would you like to see in terms of reforms in the judiciary generally?
The CJN, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, I'm sure has seen it all. Having come from the magistracy to the High Court, to the Court of Appeal, to the Supreme Court. She's seen it all. So she knows, and I know that she will do a lot on this issue of reform. There was one justice reform conference
that had both the bar and the bench
in Abuja.
Yes.
They should go. That report is solid.
They should dust it up.
They should dust it up.
Implement
The Attorney General of the Federation was a signatory to that document. It's a beautiful document. made up of seasoned lawyers, respected lawyers and judges. They should dust it up and make sure that we comply with that report.
About 2 years ago, my lord, we had an interview which went viral about the salaries and allowances of judges, and now the president has approved an increase. But I'm wondering, for retired judges, what has happened? Are your emoluments and pensions and gratuities being paid regularly? Are judges no longer old? And has the reforms reached retired judges too?
Yeah, you see, I must commend the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Nigeria, His Excellency Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who rose up to the occasion and met the yearnings of the judiciary as per salaries and emoluments of serving judges and non-serving judges, so to say. But up to now, retired judges are still left out. But I heard that they are working on it. But for how long? The serving judges have started receiving theirs from August. But up to now, we have seen nothing.
For retired judges.
No insurance, no allowances. Even the salary is still the same. My salary every month is less than 500,000
as a retired
a
judge.
month. Yes, up to yesterday. Maybe this new year, they said they will look into it. I'm sure they are looking into it, and I want to believe that the Chief Justice of Nigeria is working to see that things are done. You know why? Retired judges are also very important, because those serving are looking forward to retirement.
Oh.
So they must see that in retirement, they will be taken good care of. But if they are not taking care of us who are retired now, what do you expect them to feel? We are all humans. We are all looking forward to retirement. And people will say, is this how I'm going to be treated if I'm retired? I won't say more than that.
Some other senior lawyers have also been speaking about some of the reforms they would like to see in the judiciary. Two of them spoke to Law Weekly. Here are their views.
The judiciary has been under trial seriously in 2024. There have been a lot of political cases where judges have been accused, where judgments have been queried. And then the judges, understandably, they are under pressure. So many cases, And then if you are in litigation proper, you can see that I'm here because it's supposed to be on holidays. So if you are in litigation proper, you go through a lot of frustrative events that could make you lose it if you are not properly in control. A lot of frustrations. So what I think the courts should do, because if you are not satisfied with a court ruling or judgment, they say go to appeal. You can remain in the Court of Appeal. I was in the Court of Appeal, Lagos State, after 3 years, and they noticed that I was very sick. The justice said, Chief Daniel, I think you should go. That was when one justice died while he was trying to sit. It was that period. And I said, Oga, I've been looking for this date for 3 years. I will not leave. I won't die. Because of that, they pity me and say, okay, call your case. You can imagine that. That case would have been adjourned that day. So when you go to the Court of Appeal, there are a lot of frustration. So we should look at amending the Constitution such that some judges can look at matters. Can put 3 or 4 judges together in the court. For instance, the Federal High Court. I've had to file about 6 appeals on a matter before one judge. If he gives one ruling that is wrong, I file appeal. He gives ruling that is wrong, I file appeal, because I don't want to petition a judge. So, and when you are not satisfied with the wrong ruling, like taking a decision, blocking an account without hearing from the owners of the account. The owners are not taken to court. They'll just say, okay, you have account with Zenith Bank and First Bank. They put Zenith Bank and First Bank. Zenith Bank and First Bank cannot come and defend the account. It is the owner of the account. You grant order blocking the account. And the owner comes. Before get the account open, they have suffered. A lot of abuses are not arrested by the court. So there should be an improvement. The fact that there is an appeal does not mean that you should not commit to doing that thing in case you lose an appeal. If you do that, if we introduce that, those who file appeal, we quickly want to pursue the appeal.
I would say that the performance of the judiciary in Nigeria in 2024 is a mixed grill. It was made up of the good, the bad, and the ugly. As in everything that is Nigerian, you found that the judiciary stood to be counted in some cases, and in some other cases, what they did left much to be desired. As you know, the issue of the protracted matter of conflicting judgments have not abated. I want to humbly enjoin the Honorable the Chief Justice of Nigeria, the Honorable Justice Kekereekun, to look into the issues of conflicting judgments. A scenario where a court has no jurisdiction and the court assumes jurisdiction. I actually feel that the NJC should be able to actually bite and not just back. I also want to say that under my Lord, the Honorable the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Honorable Justice Kekereekun, for the first time in a very long while, 2 heads of courts have been suspended, while some others have been dismissed. It is important for judicial officers to recognize that for every action that they take, that there is actually consequences. That's the only thing that deters impunity. Concerning our criminal justice system, I would want the National Judicial Council and the leadership of the Federal High Court to look at the very obnoxious pay conditions being granted by my lords, judges of the Federal High Court. The way it seems is like the Nigerian criminal justice system is cruel to the poor and embraces the rich. So why is it that almost everybody that goes to court hardly goes on the same day? And again, we don't even count the cost. We don't count the costs of remanding people. Every time you remand a prisoner, the federal government pays an amount to feed the prisoner, clothe the prisoner, and give the prisoner a bed space. That is why it is important that state governments should start running correctional centers. So that when the state judges or the state magistrates start remanding people, it will be the state government that should pay for that remand. You should actually start counting the cost. You should start paying, because you cannot remand somebody from, let's say, Lagos State High Court, and the federal government is the one. There will be no synergy. You must understand the way it works. Every single thing we do or don't do in our criminal justice system have their consequences for our economy.
And just before we go, a quick look at some of the stories we tracked at the courts this week.
We begin with the report that the vacation judge, Justice Emeka Nwete of the Federal High Court in Abuja, on Monday, December 30, 2024, ruled that the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, could freeze 24 bank accounts domiciled in different banks over allegations bordering on terrorism financing. Justice Nwete granted the application after EFCC's lawyer, Martha Babatunde, moved an ex parte motion to that effect. The judge gave the commission the go-ahead to freeze the accounts for 90 days, pending the conclusion of its investigation. The EFCC counsel had sought an order freezing the bank accounts stated in the application. The accounts are said to be subject matters of investigation by the EFCC concerning money laundering and terrorism financing. The lawyer also disclosed the preliminary investigations conducted thus far revealed that the bank accounts are linked to persons who take advantage of the virtual cryptocurrency exchange platforms to illegally manipulate the value of Naira and launder proceeds of their unlawful activities. In another case, the same judge authorized the Defense Intelligence Agency DIA to further detain the presidents of the Miyetti Allah Kauta Hore, Alhaji Bello Bodejo, and 6 others for 60 days to facilitate investigations into allegations of banditry and illegal arms possession made against them. Justice Emeka Nwete granted the request after an ex parte motion by the DIA Council. The council sought a 2-month detention period for a detailed investigations. According to the DIA, the suspects were apprehended in Nasarawa State on December 11 and handed over to the DIA by Nigerian Armed Forces personnel after their arrest. They were alleged to have been involved in a December 11 attack on a military base in the state. The assault, reportedly led by Bodejo, caused injuries to soldiers and civilians, theft of military weapons, and substantial property damage. Before the ruling of Justice Emeka Nwete, another judge, Justice Mohammed Zubairu of the FCT High Court, had ordered the release of Bodejo after holding that his detention by the Department of State Services DSS without being charged to court was unlawful. Still in Abuja, Justice Nwete has adjourned ruling on the bail application of a female #EndBadGovernance activist, Olamide Thomas, who is accused of issuing death threats against the son of the president, Seyi Tinubu, and other prominent individuals via social media. Justice Nwete fixed the ruling for Monday, January 6, 2025, following submissions made by both the defense and prosecution. The judge also indicated that the case file would be forwarded to the chief judge after his tenure as a vacation judge ends. Olamide Thomas was arraigned on December 20, 2024 and remanded at the Suleja Correctional Center after pleading not guilty to 3 counts of cybercrime, including sending threatening messages to Seyi Tinubu, the Inspector General of Police, and the Police Public Relations Officer. The charges are based on statements made in a video posted on social media where Thomas was alleged to have threatened to harm Tinubu and other police officials. And we round off with the report that the president of the Nigerian Bar Association, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Afam Osigwe, has reaffirmed the association's unwavering commitment to advocating for the rule of law and human rights. In his New Year message on Wednesday, January 1st, 2025 in Abuja, Osigwe expressed optimism for the future, stating that the new year would be a defining one for both the NBA and the broader legal profession in Nigeria. He emphasized the association's continued focus to promoting judicial reforms, strengthening the independence of the judiciary, and addressing systemic challenges that delay justice in Nigeria. Mr. Osigwe also added that the NBA would address issues such as police brutality, unlawful detentions, and other human rights abuses, while collaborating with stakeholders to promote a just society.
And that's the program for today. Do remember to check out the Channels TV website for a replay of this episode of the program, as well as past episodes. Please also send in any feedback via our social media handles. I'm Shola Sheyede. Thank you for watching, and do have a happy new year.